Hey, everybody, welcome back to Rams Brothers, the pod. I'm your host, Dene, and I'm joined by the other host of this show, Nick. And Nick, I was on my honeymoon. The Rams are 2-0. You were the host of this show. You added Ryan as a co-host, and it sounded like you guys had a lot of fun. How are you today?
I'm good, Dean. Just last night I was at the Hollywood Bowl. Got to see St. Vincent. Absolutely incredible. She rocked the house. What did you think of the episode?
It was good. You know, I tuned in for the first couple of minutes to make sure the trains were on the right track.
Were they?
It sounded like they were. And now I'm back in the driver's seat, and I have the jitters all over again. Like it's one of our first episodes, but it's so much fun because I got to hear you and Ryan kind of come together. You guys did your first episode together, and I don't know. You sounded like a competent host. I felt like I was very proud. It's like McVay when he let Kevin O'Connell kind of take a hold of the offense in the preseason.
Sure.
I was satisfied. I was thankful for what you guys did, and I was proud of the work that you guys put out while I was on vacation, and it made me proud to hear. So, and again, everything that's happened, the marriage, the honeymoon, so much has happened. You made your best man speech, which kicked ass. So after I heard that, in front of my other side of my family now, I had full confidence that you could steer the show in the right direction. So I think
you're such a politician, McVay, right now. I was totally confident in his ability to succeed, and it was just great seeing that through.
Did the people miss me? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, some guy on Twitter's like, yeah, it was really good, but don't let Nick continue to do this alone.
Yeah, Jason. Yeah, we love you, Jason. That's just one of our diehard fans who spends time, listens to the pod.
You might have to hang that tweet in my room.
Yeah, it should motivate
have to put
you.
It should
drive you. You want to be a head coach one day, you better step it up, dude.
I thought I did a good job as the offensive coordinator. So
yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I was impressed.
Ryan, tight end moves out there.
Yeah.
Dinking and dunking together.
Dink and dunk. That's going to be a theme of the episode, so no spoilers there. Sponsor so far. Before we jump in anything, BrewX. Brewery X is the best brewery in Anaheim. IPAs, hard seltzers, you name it, they got it. Over 30 beers, 10 hard seltzers, curbside pickup, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Open every day, 11 a.m. to midnight. Go over there after the game, before the game, get your beers, hard seltzers. Hard seltzers are like fading into the dust. Like every hard seltzer we have that's in our fridge right now, nobody's touching for whatever reason. I don't know. There's a big shift. I'm into the IPAs. But anyway,
I'd much prefer an IPA. Hard seltzers are just not my thing. The Brewery X has a couple really good ones.
They do,
but they're all like super high in content, alcohol content, which I like.
I think if you have like a hard seltzer, you want to have one that's like 6 or 7%.
Yeah, Zombie X is one of their ones. I like that one a lot. But yeah, I'm more of just a traditional beer guy, especially if it's Sunday. Give me like slap and tickle and get me on the couch, and I'm good to go.
I have my beers ready for tomorrow. Unfortunately, they're not BrewX, but I got to get some BrewX out here in New Jersey and be ready to go.
I'll send you some. Don't worry.
Yeah, please. Or when you come home, bring some. Looking back to last year, the Rams were 6-3. When you go ahead and look back when they were getting ready for Tampa Bay last year. They were coming off of a feel-good victory against Seattle in Week 10. Darius Williams picked off Russell Wilson twice. And the Rams' defense kind of started to form their identity, right? You kind of felt like they were in certain situations, whether it was divisional opponent or it was somebody else, you could kind of blanket whichever quarterback was coming into their stadium. So you were feeling good after that. Tampa Bay was in a little bit different of a situation, right? They got their asses whooped in Week 9 to the Saints, right? I think it was 38-3. So they were a little bit shaky early on, and then they came back. I think they won the next game, but they kind of weren't showing that they were a complete team until, the last 3-4 weeks of the season, obviously. Then they took it into the playoffs on the road. But they
great January team.
Incredible, led by Tom Brady. But we'll talk about that more. But some of the things that they showed early on in the season, they weren't a complete team. They haven't lost. I think they won or they lost the game. So this is what happened. They beat the Rams. Then they lost to the Rams and they lost to the Chiefs. And then they haven't lost a game since. So we're looking at a team that's won 9 straight games going into last season. So it's going to be an extremely difficult matchup. Obviously, what we saw last year was a team led by Jared Goff threw the ball 51 times. I think they only were able to collect 37 rushing yards total. So, having to trust your quarterback to that level and still being able to overcome some of the adversity late in that game, was impressive. But Nick, it's a completely different team this year. I think personally, before we get too deep into the script, this is Matthew Stafford's game to lose, and it could also be his coming out party. I don't know if you kind of feel the same way or if you feel like this is going to be kind of similar to what we saw last year.
I think this is the game that he has to win, especially because you had Jarrett on the field winning this game. It's like, we need to see you win Tampa Bay, need to see a beat Green Bay, definitely need to see you show up against San Francisco. That's why you're here. That's why you were brought to Los Angeles, because you're an upgrade, right? So if you're going to be coming out losing to essentially the exact same Tampa Bay team, and like, I know we don't have Akers, but you just said we couldn't even really rush on them at all. So it's going to be a lot of air action. I foresee a Rams victory, and I don't want to just say that because, we're obviously the Rams brothers. But I just think it's home, and I would be shocked if Tampa – I think they're also just like crazy due for a loss in general. It's like they are so hot right now.
You go back and look at that game, right? Hypothetically, if it's the same team, I watched Jared Goff kind of pick apart that defensive backs. So, those defensive backs, they're shaky the same way that they were last year. It's an incredible opportunity for Matthew Stafford to just kind of come in and show off a little bit. There was also late in that game, Matt Gay missed a 44-yard field goal, came back and kicked another 40-yarder. I think Goff threw a turnover late in the game with about 7.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So there were some shaky moments that you could potentially hope to eliminate when you have a quarterback like Matthew Stafford. But there's, I think, a lot that's kind of going to come along with this offense, different layers that they're going to show. Obviously they've been able to incorporate Cooper Kupp as, the guy who's getting the lion's share of the targets and obviously the receptions, but you can now utilize Tyler Higbee and Deshaun Jackson and Tutu Atwell and Jacob Harris in different ways that you haven't so far this season. So I think it's going to be a really good opportunity. What happened late in that game last season, and you gave Tom Brady an opportunity to come back and win that game. You weren't able to take enough time off the clock. You weren't able to capitalize with the field goal because of Matt Gay, because of the miss. So you gave him time to go down and win the game. And for whatever reason, they were on top of their game enough. Jordan Fuller was good enough to be able to make a play and end that game early. But I don't know if that's going to happen again. There's so many different aspects of this Tampa Bay team. Their front seven, their linebackers, obviously their defensive backs are weak, but they're able to get pressure on Stafford and cause some interceptions early on, or a strip sack or a fumble. Who knows what could happen in this game? They could take control. So
it's just really funny because I think you look at Goff and you look at Stafford, and Goff was like not confident enough in his own ability, right? So he would like dink it and like try to get like short little passes just to kind of get it over there. He played amazing in this game, but I'm just saying in general. And you have Stafford, who is just like the most confident guy in his own ability. And it almost really lost us the game in Indianapolis last week. There was a couple plays where he held onto the ball too long, and it almost was a disastrous pick here or there and missed somebody in the end zone. So it's going to be interesting to see how he's going to avoid the Ndamukong Suhs on that Tampa Bay front because they're going to come in hot.
They are.
And everybody's all over Blythe and Allen, and credit to both of the defenses that we just faced, but Tampa Bay is a legit defense as you can face.
Yeah, they're a different animal. But, it's kind of the offense that Sean McVay likes to run. Even that we saw it with Jared Goff early on in the game last year. They were able to get the ball downfield. And even though it was 9.5 yards per completion, which is, 4 yards short of what Matthew Stafford has been able to accomplish this year so far, I think you're going to be able to kind of do the same thing. Right, Tom Brady kind of falls more so in that category, 10.5, 11 yards per completion. But Matthew Stafford, if you can kind of take advantage and keep the ball out of Tom Brady's hands and just continue to put points on the board the same way that Tampa Bay did last week to Atlanta, right? I think they have the ability to kind of blow this game wide open, show some of Tampa Bay's vulnerabilities. You don't have to run the ball. You don't have to play into their strengths as often as some people would like to. You always like to be able to establish some form of run, and we don't know if Darrell Henderson's going to be able to play. Right, he's questionable with that rib injury. But
I would say he's not playing. I would not. If he's on your fantasy team, put him on your bench. Get Sonny Michel in there, or somebody else. He's not going to play. That's a really tough injury to to get on the field. And they're going to keep saying game time decision because they're going to mess with Bruce Arians and what the Bucs have to prep for. But I don't want him on the field for further games. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I think that's the right way to approach it. I think you could still get away with carrying the ball with Sony Michel. Maybe sprinkle in a little Jake Funk on pass downs to pass protect. I think they can get away with that, right? You don't have to run the ball for 90 to 100 yards, right? If you could figure out a way to just kind of control the clock a little bit better than they have. They've fallen behind in the time of possession battle so far this season. They just have to be able to figure out a way to, play within themselves and continue to progress the offense, which has kind of been what I've been seeing so far. There are moments in this offense where it sounds like they're down and they're beaten. Feels like it, they're, third and long, 3rd and 13, 3rd and 15, and somebody breaks free. And, all of a sudden there's something there. So
it's that amazing yards after catch that these, Kupp and Woods are able to obtain because it's like that's just so huge. And that's what you get when you have like weapons like that.
Yeah. I mean, you could take the risk, right? And when you watch the game last year, Goff was able to take as many risks as he kind of wanted to. But he's one that kind of plays within the offense as well. And wasn't, taking those. He took a couple deep shots, but a lot of his completions weren't any further than 10, 15 yards down the field. I think with the offense, the additional layers that they're going to throw on it this week, you could see somebody like Deshaun Jackson break free. He's a guy you played against this team. He played for this team rather the Tampa Bay Bucs, and he's somebody who's kind of going to want to get some. And Higbee only had one target last week, and we haven't seen a ton of Jacob Harris because of the hip injury. So you can kind of unleash all these weapons, and at the same time, you have no Antonio Brown. For right now, we haven't seen 2 negative tests the day before the game. You got no Jason Pierre-Paul, and then there are slot corners out. So, I mean, there's a lot of players, an advantage of the Rams, guys getting healthy. You might not see Darrell Henderson, but there are a couple guys on the offense getting healthy at the right time where you could see, a switch, right? You could see a turn in the tide. Somebody kind of control the NFC or at least the picture moving forward. These are the kind of games, Nick, if you want to be considered a contender, you have to win this game. Right?
It's going to say a lot about the winner of this game and also the winner of the Green Bay San Francisco game on who is, like the legitimate top 5 team or like top 2 team, I think, coming out of these next couple weeks. I think no matter what, the Bucs are, they're, reigning champs and it's Tom Brady. So no one's ever really going to count them out. I could still foresee like a power ranking after the Rams win where the Bucs are somehow still on top.
Yeah.
Just because of how they are and how they operate, especially if it's a super close game. But overall, I just think this Rams team has what it takes in the weapons that we've seen so far. I don't expect Deshaun to really make an impact. Truly,
no, not yet.
As much as I just don't like. In general, I know they got him to be that deep ball guy. I just have much more faith in Van Jefferson to be that. Definitely maybe see him out there getting like a nice deep ball.
Yeah,
but I think Deshaun's kind of a decoy.
Yeah, you could use him as a decoy, right? You could run him out of the slot. You could run him deep to draw safeties, which is something that they're going to be able to do. I think one of the things, too, that you touched on, right, Matthew Stafford, this being his game, right, kind of the reason why they brought him in, the determining factor on if this was a good trade, although it already seems like it is working out in favor of the Rams. When you look at Tampa just overall, before I jump into Matthew Stafford.
Wait, hold on. Just real fast before you go into Tampa.
Yeah.
Both of these, I don't think you could say it's absolutely happening yet, the Matthew Stafford era, because I could almost guarantee you Goff would have won those last 2 games. I just think I wasn't seeing anything egregious in especially, I mean, like in the Indy game, nothing egregious out of Matt Stafford. That was like, this is nothing Goff can do. And then the Bears game,
3 and outs were bad. Yeah, I would agree. The way they started the second half was poor.
And then the Bears game, I just think the Rams kind of own them. So I think no matter what, in an alternate universe, Doctor Strange is looking through a portal, and the Rams are still 2-0 with Jarrett. But
I see what you mean. But do they win in the same way against Chicago? Right? Is it as much of a blowout? Do they cover the spread? Right? Is it as comfortable? Do they have as many big plays? right? I think those are kind of the things that, could you win the same game? You could win the same game with Andy Dalton as your quarterback, or with Jimmy Garoppolo, or Nick Foles, or Carson Wentz. It just matters kind of how you win the game, and if those late turnovers are costing you, and if that's going to compile into mistakes in the playoffs. So that's it's the long-term evaluation. Yes. I think that the trade's working out in favor of Stafford right now. But if you just kind of look at the NFC, I want to talk about Tampa Bay's schedule for a second, because their schedule is an effing joke.
Yeah, I can't believe it. How are you number one in the league, and then this is the schedule?
Well, it's like you were saying. You were talking about how if the Rams win this game, they could potentially be talked about as the number one contender, or Green Bay or San Francisco, whoever that could be. Tampa Bay is not going to stop being talked about as a contender just because of their schedule. They're never going to be out of it. They'll win at least 13 games. That's an absolute lock. Second place schedule, which means they get us, they get the Bears, and then they get the Colts, which are essentially their three hardest games. Then the NFC least, obviously they already beat the Cowboys, so they beat the toughest team in the East. The Eagles, the Giants, the Washington football team, all teams that are extremely beatable.
Giants played them tough last year. Maybe they can squeak out a victory this year.
I doubt it.
Same.
Although Danny Jones, a little bit of an improvement week to week. I don't think he's the worst. Take that down. Many may think that he's the worst, but he's fine.
No, I actually think he's a very capable quarterback.
Salvageable. Fastest straight line runner in football right now, I believe, is what I saw, which is ridiculous. They also play the AFC least. Tom Brady completely owns the AFC East in every form for the last 20 years. And then they play their own shaky division, right? They played Carolina twice late. So probably when they're going to be.
Of course it's late. I think Carolina is going to be
January.
Carolina could be a sneaky little opponent for them. So I'm hoping of course they play them late. You know what I mean? Not when they're like red hot.
Well, I don't know. It was so evil what they did to their schedule last season, right? Because they lost to Kansas City in the regular season. They lost to New Orleans twice in the regular season. And then they figured out everything they did wrong, put it together in the playoffs, and beat them. Sometimes
it's a genius move.
Yeah, I know. Right. For example, if we do win this game and we see them again in the playoffs, is it going to be the same thing that we saw again? They're going to be there. I mean, barring any kind of injury to Brady, there's no doubt 100% they're going to be there. I would bet my life on it. It's that bad. The schedule is that bad. So I just kind of look.
But I think we're going to be there too.
Yeah, well, this is what I'm getting to. I kind of look throughout the schedule. Quarterbacks that I think realistically can beat Tom Brady and the Bucs this season, just in the regular season. Dak Prescott was one that was on the cusp. He already lost. Matthew Stafford is one. They play this Sunday. And then Josh Allen. And then end of list. That's it.
No, it's Sam Darnold.
Come on. You think Sam Darnold, if Tom Brady needs 2 wins in December and January, Sam Darnold's going to go into Tampa Bay and beat Tom Brady?
No, but maybe in Carolina.
Well, how about Jameis?
Yeah, Jameis could sneak a win.
Get the hell out of here, sneak a win. Which they have no shot. If Jameis goes in and beats Tom Brady, I will eat a whole bucket of crab legs and buy all of our followers crab legs, garlic.
And you have to do you got to do the eat a W.
Yeah, what the hell is that? No way he beats Tom Brady this season. I actually started the Patriots D this season just because I think Belichick's going to torture him tomorrow.
See, now I like the Saints in that game big time.
Oh, geez. Well, I like their defense because they'll probably pick him off 2 or 3 times and cause a fumble. So he's one of the 2 quarterbacks I think in the regular season that can beat Tom Brady and the Bucs. So here's
our quarterback.
Here are some stats. Our guy, Matthew Stafford, starting quarterback for the Rams, 3rd in yards per passes thrown, 1st in yards per completion, 7th in yards per game, 3rd in QBR, and 3rd best passer rating. I mean, we're seeing, I knew you were going to do that stupid face. We're seeing everything come into fruition right now.
What the?
No, by no means, Nick, by no means is this a finished product. This offense is going to continue to evolve.
That's what I'm trying to say with my.
I talked about Tampa Bay, how they were shaky last year. We might get a couple of losses sprinkled in divisional rounds. Niners might beat us once or twice. But when this team is able to evolve within the last 5 to 6 weeks of the season, even in the last 3 or 4 weeks, if they can kind of put everything together then, if they can get healthy then, they're going to be dangerous. So for right now, I'm just kind of looking at this team being able to play competent, right? Being able to play at home and control the game, control the noise in the stadium. I don't think there's going to be a ton of Tampa Bay fans there. But again, we have a quarterback now that is able to get the ball out. He's shown so far this season he's been able to get the ball out because he has the time to do so. You look at this entire offensive line, I don't think you can give the offense the credit it deserves without looking at guys like Andrew Whitworth, who puts reps on tape that just look so effortless. It's like when Tiger Woods swings a golf club, is Andrew Whitworth blocking from left tackle position. It doesn't even look like he's trying. And then you see David Edwards is putting some incredible reps on film from some really good interior players last week. And obviously Brian Allen, who's been kind of an anchor of the entire offensive line. Austin Blythe seamlessly transitioning into right guard. And Rob Havenstein, the old reliable, we can call him, from St. Louis at this point. You're getting every single thing you want.
It's amazing
with the health of this offensive line. It's exactly what Matthew Stafford could ask for. But this week is their biggest test. I think when you look at this front seven, that's where their strength is. There's going to be tons of pressure. There's going to be limited room to run. And it's probably it is. I would say throughout the entire regular season, outside of San Francisco, this is going to be their biggest test up front. Vita V, Willie Golston, Ndamukong Suh, all just flat out gap stoppers, gap cloggers. They're going to attempt to win in a lot of different ways. They're going to attempt to win a lot of different matchups. They're going to move guys around. So again, it's going to be fully dependent on, Brian Allen being able to call things out at the line of scrimmage, right? If he sees a blitz from Devin White, if he sees them, shuffling things around, how can you make an adjustment? Is it Stafford calling things out? Is it McVay seeing different things? I'm going to look for that within the offensive line and within the offense this week. It's just one of these defensive lines, defensive fronts that's going to wreak havoc. They're going to clog you even when you're trying to run on the outside. That outside zone concept that the Rams tried to run in the Super Bowl, Todd Bowles has that shit figured out. So whatever you're trying to do, if you're running inside or you're running your jet sweeps and you're trying to get around the edge, there's a lot of different ways that you can do that. But again, you have to deal with players like Shaq Barrett and Joe Tyron Shinoika and Anthony Nelson. Those are all players that are competent. Obviously, Shaq Barrett's now a veteran. But again, no JPP. So only those 9 fingers will be on the sideline. Is it 8 fingers? How many fingers did he lose?
I don't know.
From the fireworks?
I don't know.
Am I boring you?
No, you're not. Not at all. I just don't know how many fingers the guy blew off his hand.
It's a shame. He has a special glove for it. Missing a finger. I'm sorry. It's terrible. But every time I look at it, I laugh. This defense, their defensive backs have allowed the 3rd most passing yards per game. They still rank within the top 5 within DVOA, within the entire league. So it goes to show how good this front 7 is the best in the league, outside of maybe the Rams and San Francisco, maybe one other team. So you look at their defensive backs, Nick, guys like Ross Crockwell, Dee Delaney, Jameel Dean, Carlton Davis. Carlton Davis has been all sorts of banged up. I've been just checking on his updates on Twitter. Hamstring. He's just all banged up. He's got a rib injury. So he's kind of coming off a couple different things. I would go right at him. Players like Jameel Dean is probably their best option, but he's not a true number 1 corner. And then you can go directly at players like Ross Crockwell, Dee Delaney. He's a guy that's pretty much a special teams player, and he's kind of their 4th option in terms of defensive backs. They have Antoine Winfield, who we saw last year, obviously play extremely well. But he's a safety. He's only one player. So it's kind of going to be, one side of the field. I think you could potentially avoid the outside, right, if one player is playing better than the other. But a guy like Antoine Winfield, he's not only going to be able to cover so much space. So if you could attack him deep, like we were talking about Deshaun Jackson, you can carry him to a different spot of the field. You hit Cooper Kupp, you hit Robert Woods, you hit Tyler Higbee, and the offense just continues to move the chains.
Something that Stafford's really good at too is being able to make it seem like he's going to throw that ball, look it off, Also trick the cameraman a couple times last week. He did that a couple times, and I was like, all right, let me, just.
I'll tell you what, though, I'm only going to go back to Jared Goff for 1 second because
it's hard not to talk about him. I
watched him in that game. I went back and watched that game, and 7, 8 receivers were involved when they went up 24-17. He threw his 3rd touchdown. I think it was Robert Woods, who just threw a bullet to in the back of the end zone. Then he had Van Jefferson on the slant, and then he hit Cam Akers on a wheel route.
was probably his best game of the year last year.
That's exactly what I thought. I was like, this is by far 39 to 51. Completion percentage was sky high. Threw for 376 yards. And you really can't ask for much outside of the late interception. So it's going to be so hard to replicate that. The thing is, this Tampa Bay team gives up 342 yards per game in the air, right? So
I mean, I thought
you can really attack them.
I'll get into it, but I thought a lot of what they showed in the Dallas game was that they're very beatable, truly. Yeah. And they made a lot of mistakes that game. It's not something you're going to see, as frequent all the time, but just in general, I think they are. I don't see them as like the ipso facto like NFC leader right now. Truly, I don't. Especially when like everybody can light up the freaking Falcons. The Eagles held the Falcons to 3 points and scored like 33, and like gave all of Philadelphia false hope. Like the Eagles are not ready to be like an amazing team.
The thing is that concerns me about this team, like schematically, they show that they have so many flaws, and personnel wise with their defensive backs, they show me that they have so many flaws throughout the regular season. And then all of a sudden that front seven just dominates a battered Chiefs offensive line in the Super Bowl. Like, but it didn't matter how bad the defensive backs were in that game because Patrick Mahomes couldn't even throw the ball. So
he didn't have time. And his receivers dropped a bunch of those balls in that Super Bowl.
He did. But I mean, it's all kind of dependent on how strong you are up front. I think the Rams are in a really good position right now, opposed to where the Chiefs were in the Super Bowl of last year. Just the strength of their offensive line, the amount of weapons that they have, the nuances of their offense right now. Bruce Arians isn't the smartest coach in the world. And Todd Bowles is a really, really good defensive coordinator, but he's going to be more so focused on that front seven. He's going to try to get pressure on Stafford and do what a lot of other teams have done to Matthew Stafford throughout his career and just get pressure right up the middle and try to hit him and try to take him out of the game. So that's kind of what I think the methodology is there. They obviously have an injury too to Murphy Bunting, who's their nickel corner, who I forgot his name earlier on. I just wanted to bring it up. So that's going to be the guy that has to cover Cooper Kupp or whoever's they want to rotate into the slot. So that's going to be an issue. Whoever that next man up may be better than Murphy Bunting. He's been terrible this year. But it's going to be really interesting just to kind of see how they can attack that. I watched some film with Deshaun Jackson running out of the slot. Van Jefferson could do it really well. They've hit some really big plays with receivers just kind of sitting in the slot, waiting for other receivers to direct traffic, and then you can kind of take off, run a post, and go for 25, 30 yards. It's all about the misdirection. They've done that extremely well. They've done it so well to the point where I went back and watched one of Seattle's games this year. Obviously, I have been struggling to watch a lot of football because I was in Greece, but I went back and was able to watch Seattle. And they're running the same offense. It's like a B level, like a Rams light version of the offense, and it's so frustrating because
it's just showing you one thing over and over and over again, and just slightly tweaking something so you don't really know where it's going to come from.
Yeah, I mean it's all Shane Waldron just kind of carrying that over. But when I see Russell Wilson running it successfully, it's nauseating. Speaking of Russell Wilson, though, the one thing that the Rams have implemented, I saw this statistic on Twitter. I forget who the guy's name was. If somebody could pull it or tweet it after this episode, please do. But the Rams have used the RPO 11% of plays so far this season, something that they never did under Jared Goff. Wasn't a true option under Jared Goff. You can kind of run it if it was a busted play and he wanted to take off, but you don't necessarily, run the true RPO, the true run pass option, unless you have a player like Matthew Stafford or somebody that can kind of move the pocket. And then also McVay talked about in an interview yesterday just how he is able to handle guys like Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods and Matthew Stafford, asking him questions that he's never heard before, right? Being able to add layers onto the offense, implement some things, being able to add to on-field chemistry. Those are all things that I think are going to be progressive, and I think you'll see as the offense continues to kind of form a personality and an identity. All those things are kind of going to come out. You have some veterans there. Robert Woods has been a little bit shaky in the first couple of weeks.
He dropped like 4 balls last week.
I know. Of course, me, the fantasy owner, I'm the one that gets stuck with him opposed to Cooper Kupp. This guy I wanted got drafted right before him. But again, Robert Woods is a guy. He's a veteran, should be a Pro Bowl caliber player. I'm not concerned about him. He'll come along. But they're making each other smarter. They're all getting older. They're all getting a little bit smarter. They're figuring out how to play this game together. So I'm encouraged by what I've seen from the offense so far. And I think this is going to be Matthew Stafford's breakout game. Right? I think he's going to get another offensive or NFC Offensive Player of the Week award.
Wow.
For over 350 yards, 3 touchdowns. The whole gig. May throw for 4 touchdowns, 400 yards. I don't know. But
unfortunately, I think
it's going to be a shootout.
I think it's going to have to be his game because I don't think we're going to get anything on the run game really going because it hasn't really happened for us until late into the game.
Yeah.
And I respect their persistence of continuing to call the runs, but with
it's not working. No,
yeah.
You can't. No, you can't. And that was one of the things too. We tweeted earlier this week, feed Sony Michel. But really that doesn't necessarily mean give him the ball 20 times if he's averaging 2.5 yards per carry, right? Yeah. It just kind of means be able to control the clock, control time of possession, and then eventually when you're dinking and dunking, you could take advantage, blown coverage downfield. Cooper Kupp wide open by 25, 30 yards like we saw in Chicago. Those are the kind of things that you're looking for that you can develop, right? You have to establish some form of a run game so that you can kind of be able to transition and open up the field in the pass game. But yeah, Nick, that's what I got. I'm extremely confident in this offense going into this game.
I really
primarily because of the offensive line. Really starts with them.
Yeah, best offensive line we've seen since 2018.
Yeah, I mean, the PFF grades show it. The tape is showing it. They're putting up some great numbers. Look at the other side too. Tampa Bay's offensive line is pretty good. So guys like Aaron Donald, I think there's a player on the Tampa Bay's offensive line who hasn't allowed a sack in like 2 years. That's a stat you want to show Aaron Donald, print out and put in the locker room because that'll motivate him. That'll motivate that whole defensive front. But that's kind of our game preview. I think we both like the Rams in this game, not because we're Rams fans, because Vegas is what? Plus 1.5 for the Rams?
Tampa's plus 1.5, yeah.
Tampa's minus 1.5. Rams are plus 1.5.
No, Rams are home. Rams are minus 1.5.
Rams. So you're saying Rams are the favorite?
Yeah.
I don't think they are, dude.
Let's check right now.
Tampa's the favorite.
Really? It's Tampa?
Yeah. It went from minus 1.5 to now it's -2.
Tampa -2.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, that kind of changes my picks. Rams are home.
I know. Rams went from plus 105 to plus 115.
I still see him at plus 1.5. I mean, plus 1.5. I thought they were minus. Wow. All right. Well, good. Let's bring that into Nick's picks because that's kind of I saw that incorrectly. But yeah, let's go into Nick's picks week 3. You ready?
Go ahead. We checked.
All right. So we got Nick's picks week 3. What's up, party people? We have yet another great winning week last week. If you've been following us to a T, you should be up 2 units because this week as well, we went 3 for 5. Texans plus 12.5, Cowboys money line, Cowboys Chargers over didn't hit, Giants money line didn't hit in the worst way, and Giants Washington over did hit. The Giants money line should have hit, but special teams decided they wanted to ruin the game for the Giants and ruin my week, which is just so sour. Should have been 4-1 this week, last week, but 3-2 is respectable. Being up a unit a week, 2 weeks in a row is nice. Dean's locks, thanks to Ryan, are now 2 for 2.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wait. So I was I 2-0 and then
Ryan gave you a lock. Ryan put a lock in for you.
But what about before Ryan stepped in? Wasn't I 1-0?
Yeah. You're 2 for 2. 2 for 2. You're 2-0. Yeah. Ryan picked the Broncos, which was a very easy pick. So not a great lock, but it was.
Broncos? How about those Broncos? Shout out Ryan.
Yeah. How about them Broncos? So whether you've been following Dean or Nick, either way, you should be up 2 units. So I got to say, that's pretty cool. This is the part of the show where we like to make everybody some money. So hop on my back. Let's ride into the beautiful gambling abyss together. Dean, before we start, what is the Dean lock of the week? See if you can go 3-0.
I have no idea, actually. Let me look.
Every week I ask you.
I know, I'm never prepared. Philly at Dallas. I'm going to go Philly. I'm going to go Philly outright at Dallas. They got some mojo in Philly right now. They're all wearing. Every player has a Beat Dallas T-shirt. I really like the head coach Nick Sirianni. For whatever reason, the Sirianni, he's a Paisan. The Sirianni Jalen Hurts combination has me switching gears on this Eagles team in general. For whatever reason, I find them fun, and I'm enjoying what
I love Hurts. So I love Hurts.
Too. And it doesn't hurt for me to say that. Obviously, they're the local team for us, but we live and die for the Rams.
Not for me anymore. They're your local team.
Yeah, but they're local, so I do follow them. So yeah, I like kind of what they put together. They gave San Francisco a tough fight last week, and I think they had a chance to win that game. So I like Philly. I like Philly outright.
All right, so that goes against one of my picks, just as traditional Dean's locks usually do. So one of us will win and one of us won't.
Yep, good.
So let's start the picks off with a little parlay. Why not? We're taking Browns money line and Bills money line. Browns take on the Bears. Bills take on the football team. I'm sorry that we waited so long to get this episode out. Us brothers are busy. I have my name on TV, and Dean's a Greek model. I don't know what to tell you, but I also included the Panthers on this parlay earlier in the week. So my first leg is down, but now I'm doubling down on the back two legs like a donkey would. Both teams are at home. Both teams have already suffered a loss to start the season, so they're both hungry. You're getting an angry Bills team against Washington, who is starting a backup and had an insanely miraculous win last week that they just got very lucky. And you're getting the Browns at home with a rookie QB starting for the Bears. These two teams should have us nice and relaxed after the 10 a.m. games. Take the easy money and just do money lines for both. The Bills are like -8 against Washington, so stay away from that. That's just a tricky number. Don't think about the spread. I do think Fields may make that Browns game a little tricky, so don't even touch that one either. Just go money lines.
Yeah.
I'm saying 32-29 Browns win, 27-17 Bills take the W. I'm just, that's just score predictions. I don't want to mess with the spread.
But you like the Bills to cover. You're just saying score prediction. You think that's what it's going to be, but you won't take them to cover.
Yeah. No, I'd rather just be relaxed.
All right. So you're still going to take a money line and just parlay them with the Browns.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Cool.
And then I wrote this and now I'm completely wrong. I wasn't going to take the Rams this week, but now I found out that they're underdogs. I thought they were, they're plus 105. I thought they were minus 110.
They're now plus 115.
Okay. Interesting. So we're taking Rams money line over Tampa first. Actually it's not the first Rams bet. It's actually, I think I put them in every single,
probably the third.
Yeah, maybe the third.
I know you.
Rams money line over Tampa. If Jared Goff and Dak Prescott can pick apart this Tampa defense, then so should the likes of Matthew Stafford. If the Rams had Akers, I would actually think the Rams would be favored by 3, considering it's a home game. I'm so shocked that they're not, that they're the underdogs, home dogs. You got to love a home dog.
For sure.
But since I'm not counting on Henderson to be in the backfield, like I said earlier, I think we should take Rams plus 1.5. But now I'm just saying Rams money line because why not?
Better off.
We just discussed in depth what's going on with these teams. The Brady Bucs team last year played their best football in January. They look pretty solid since. But if you watch the Dallas game, like I said, they look really beatable. Lots of mistakes. Defense was letting Dak cook. I just think the Rams are better than the Cowboys and will be able to win a close game like that. Yep. So we're taking Rams money line victory over the Bucs. 27-29 Rams win. Also, the under is 57.5, which is just so tasty. So tasty. I'm gonna have to take a big old Wario bite. Wow.
I saw it at 55.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We got different books, man. Because I'm looking at it right now. It's 57.5.
Let me see. Mine might be 55.5. 55.
Okay, so so I did these earlier in the week, so I guess the lines are moving.
Yeah, they are.
They always are. The lines are always moving. But I would buy some points if you got it at 55. I would get 57.5. Just because I think it's going to be a high scoring game. I don't think the Rams are capable of giving up more than 27 points. And Sean McVay likes to do this thing where he's not going to shove the wind down your throat. He didn't do it last week against Indy. They could have gotten another field goal and covered that game, but they did it. They played it smart and they just ran the clock out. So I'm going to say under 57.5 is another pick.
Wow. I'm disagreeing with the under.
That's fine.
Yeah,
That's fine.
I think both teams. I don't know. I mean,
you're not going to like this next one either.
Well, I mean, I went back and looked at Antonio Brown's targets. Him being out is going to be a determining factor, but maybe Tampa Bay puts up 28 points, Rams put up 32, 33, 35. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Got to put up a lot to beat this team.
Sure.
Possibly. And then we got Philly at Dallas, Monday Night Football, baby. You love to see it. This is one of my favorite rivalries in all of sports. Both of these franchises' fans are the absolute worst. Every year, it's their year. Crazy how that works. They're both so similar, it's insane. And they both will tell you how terrible the other is. It's crazy. Just cue Man in the Mirror by Michael Jackson, because it truly is exactly that. Philly is a fun and scrappy team. They fought hard in that San Francisco game, but their red zone efficiency is lackluster. Their run game is abysmal unless it's Hurts rushing, and their coach is trying the Philly special so he can score some brownie points with the fans. I don't think Philly is the real deal, but I've really shockingly liked all of what Dallas has done. Hung in there with Tampa till the very end. They should have won that game. Beat a tough road opponent, and now home opener, these guys have a chance to light it up against the Birds. We're taking Dallas money -3. We're buying the point just in case, because I hate losing on half points. But truthfully, I think Dallas is going to stomp on them. It happens every year. They always split the series, and the team that's home usually takes the W. So I'm going 31-17. That's Dallas.
Yeah.
And then what were you going to say?
No. I already. That's what my lock is. We'll see. I think it's going to be closer.
Okay.
That's all.
And then my quick pick, this one's easy. I'm taking Packers money lines over San Francisco. Maybe I'm betting with my heart, not my head here, but San Francisco doesn't strike me as a real threat right now. Maybe later in the season. The Packers scared the crap out of me. I know their defense isn't like top notch, but Aaron Rodgers, I mean, look, these are my picks. They're not yours. I don't need to see you flip flop and making annoying faces over there. And plus, it's always just fun to bet against San Francisco. You know what I mean? I like to see them lose. So we're going to throw that in there as a quick pick. Remember, quick picks, maybe don't put the house on them. So let's run it back. We got Browns, Bills, money line parlay, Rams, money line, the under by some points, 57.5 in Rams, Bucs, Dallas -3, and Packers, money line.
Okay.
Lots of money line, guys. I like my money lines. I don't know what to think.
I really like the Browns and Bills parlay. I think they're both due for another win. Rams, money line. Of course, I like that one. Hate the under. Hate Dallas -3, and Packers money line is fine. Packers money line is fine.
Yeah.
What's up with real quick? What's up with the Lions schedule? Did they get Green Bay and then they got San Francisco? Don't they have another Super Bowl caliber? Baltimore. Yeah. I mean, what the heck?
The NFL it's like dooms that team to fail. Go 0-3.
Yeah, I'm surprised they're not on your picks. Is all I'm saying.
I mean, I really thought about it, and I want them to win that game, and I think there's a chance of like a real upset this week, especially because it's in Detroit. They're at +7.5. If that Bills parlay hits with the Panthers, I may sprinkle some money line cash on the lines.
You have some cash to play with. I just feel like it's like Dave and Buster's with the Lions. You're just a deposit. You're paying to play.
Yeah.
Kind of sucks.
I just wish they were better. It's just such a shame for Jared.
Yeah. Well, they're not.
Yeah.
We knew they wouldn't be.
Yeah.
But anyway, our team's good. That's all that matters. So we're going to be back, 2 times a week. We're going to be doing episodes. We'll be doing a recap, then we'll be doing a preview. So maybe Monday night, Tuesday night, depends on when the games are. But we'll get you guys with recaps. We'll get you guys with previews. And then we'll mix in some guests, obviously. We'll continue with the articles. All articles are going to be now featured on LAFBnetwork.com. So all of our writers, Alexis and Eric and a couple of our other guys, they will all be featured on footballnetwork.com. So Nick,
they're great. I love LAFB. I get notifications every time they post an article or a video. I love to be part of this network. Honestly, it's great. Bunch of fun stuff coming up. I'll be at the Rams Cardinals game next week. So if anybody wants to come say hi, I'll probably be tailgating. I'll let you know where I'm at. We'll have a great time.
And then we will be there in SoFi Stadium. We'll be tailgating SoFi for the Lions game. I still have yet to book that trip, but I will book it. Me and my wife, and then you and one of your friends.
Yep.
So that's going to be a good time. That's going to be a really good time. So we'll be there for that. Hopefully we'll be able to meet everybody then. Rams Brothers flag, maybe.
Oh, we should so get a Rams Brothers flag.
Rams Brothers beer bong, maybe. I don't know. It's going to be fun.
We should get a bunch of merch and sell it out of the back of my car.
Yeah, coasters. We'll just fling them out like Frisbees.
You get a coaster. You get a coaster.
Hey, we'll do something. It's going to be a good time. Looking forward.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. It's a great
back.
episode as always. We always enjoy it, and we do it for you guys.
Thanks for having me back, Nick. I appreciate it. It was a warm welcome.
Yeah, it was. Truly.
Always fun. All right, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Peace.
Go Rams.
Horns up.